I anticipate a lot of big fights. I got something in the works right now. I'll drive you fuckers crazy. All you guys will be running around. I got something in the works that you will never fucking see coming for 2025 that literally started to come together last night.
On Saturday, at the post-fight press conference in Tampa, Dana White alluded to the fact that he had something in the works, something big up his sleeve for 2025.
I have no issue with this fight for a few reasons. Number one, obviously, I don't think he's ready to be back in the UFC. I think he will get his ass kicked thoroughly.
Dana White has reacted to the Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul fight announcement. According to Conor McGregor's social media account, he and Logan Paul have agreed to a boxing match in India. Early Tuesday morning, McGregor sparked a frenzy on social media, dismissing rumors of a potential bout with Georgian-Spanish fighter Ilia Topuria. He then turned heads by unveiling his own plans. 3 years after his last UFC appearance, McGregor hinted at his eagerly anticipated comeback to the octagon as part of the shocking news. The 36-year-old wrote on X on Tuesday, "The rumors of a bout with Topuria are false. I am in preliminary agreements with the Ambrani family to face Logan Paul in a boxing exhibition in India. I have agreed. I will then seek my return to the octagon." The Irishman hasn't competed since Dustin Poirier's back-to-back losses in 2021. Therefore, there has long been conjecture about his return to the octagon. McGregor is still one of MMA's top pay-per-view attractions and the first guy to hold titles in 2 weight divisions at the same time. In the meantime, speculation has swirled around his potential return to MMA and the UFC, with former lightweight contender Michael Chandler stepping forward as a willing challenger for a comeback bout. Following McGregor's loss to Charles Oliveira at UFC 309, Chandler had previously demanded a fight with McGregor. They coached The Ultimate Fighter Season 31 against each other last year, and their meeting inside the octagon has long been planned. The announcement of Paul stepping into the boxing ring for a 3rd time might come as a surprise to many, as he prepares to face McGregor. This follows his high-profile bout with Floyd Mayweather in 2017, and an exhibition match against Michael McGregor in Dublin 2 years after that. McGregor was charged with brutally raping and battering 35-year-old Nikita Hand at a Dublin hotel in 2018 when he appeared in court in his home country of Ireland. In November, a jury convicted him guilty of mistreating Hand and ordered him to pay damages of about €250,000. The former 2-weight UFC champion has strongly refuted the allegations and stated on social media that he plans to appeal the decision. He wrote on X, "As much as I regret it, everything that happened that night was consensual, and all the witnesses present swore to that under oath. I have instructed my legal team to appeal the decision." Earlier on Tuesday, he said on the social media platform, "I was found liable for assault and guilty of nothing. I will be pursuing all the defamatory writings about me." He finds in Paul a fighter who has competed professionally twice, defeating fellow YouTuber-turned-boxer KSI in 2019 and defeating Dylan Dennis in 2023. Back in 2021, the 29-year-old also met 5-weight former world champion Mayweather, but they were drawn in an exhibition match. Conor McGregor would need the UFC's approval to step into the ring against Jake Paul, as he remains bound by a contract with 2 fights left. However, with both the UFC and WWE under the umbrella of their parent company, TKO, an agreement might be negotiable. McGregor hasn't competed since suffering a devastating leg break in the opening round of his trilogy bout with Dustin Poirier more than 3 years ago. Paul's time in the ring has been relatively brief, marked by high-profile clashes rather than extensive experience. He first faced off against social media rival KSI, resulting in a draw during their Manchester debut before suffering a defeat in the Los Angeles rematch. Later, Paul stepped into the ring for an unscored exhibition against boxing legend Floyd Mayweather. Most recently, he squared off against Dylan Dennis, a former teammate of Conor McGregor. However, their bout descended into chaos last year, ending in controversy when security intervened after Dennis attempted to tackle Paul in the ring. Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk are gearing up for a highly anticipated rematch on December 21st, where the British heavyweight aims to redeem himself after his May loss to the Ukrainian champion. A win for Fury could pave the way for a blockbuster clash with longtime rival Anthony Joshua in the coming year. His younger brother said that McGregor was attempting to fight him, but he was unwilling to talk about a fight until the UFC was involved, prior to Paul posting his statement. Now it all makes sense why Conor McGregor and his management team have been desperately trying to get MVP to negotiate for a fight between us, wrote Jake. He added, as we told them privately, and I'm now saying it publicly, the only way we're willing to explore me versus Conor in a pro boxing MMA fight is if Dana White, UFC are at the table directly or make it clear they are okay with discussions. Conor is washed, needs the Pauls, Logan by however he wants. McGregor was recently sentenced to pay his victim more than £200,000 after it was discovered that he had beaten Nikita Hand at a hotel in Dublin. UFC CEO White was non-committal when asked about his star's future, saying simply, if I had a comment, I would have put it out already. He hasn't been fighting here in how long? If he does fight, it will be sometime next year. The Paul brothers are no strangers to disrupting the combat sports scene, but Jake Paul has wasted no time voicing his disapproval of Conor McGregor's latest venture. Following McGregor's announcement of tentative plans for an exhibition boxing match against Logan Paul, Jake fired off a sharp rebuke of the Irishman on social media. White's approval would be required if McGregor, who has 2 more fights left on his UFC contract, decided to fight outside the organization. But White has been steadfast in his denial of working with the Paul brothers. In a scathing remark made years ago, White told ESPN, I'm not gonna fucking loan them a guy for fucking what? There's no way. You've got plenty of fucking goofballs out there to play these games. I'm not your guy. After his fight with Logan, the Notorious is adamant that he will return to mixed martial arts. The world is waiting to see if this most recent chapter in the drama of combat sports can live up to the expectations as he continues his turbulent return to fighting, which has included injuries, legal issues, and now a possible boxing exhibition.
I would love to do a UFC fight.
Man, who the hell are you gonna fight, bro?
Who do you want me to fight, Mike?
Maybe Conor or something like
Man,
that.
you're-
But it would have to be like
it-
right now, like
it-
straight off a binge.
He's
Well,
actually
bro.
hungover when he shows up.
Yes, Roadhouse movie promoting Conor.
Yeah, the
with
movie's
Jabberjaw.
great, man. G and Jake Gyllenhaal.
That might work. I don't know what was going on there. But
Oh, you know what was going
I
on,
know
brother.
what was going on
You
there.
know what was
Yeah,
going
I
on.
do.
When famous ESPN commentator Stephen A. Smith shared his views on Conor McGregor's recent boxing match announcement, he seemed unfazed. Smith argues that McGregor is far from being in the right condition to return to the octagon, deeming it a major misstep for the Irish fighter, even with his upcoming bout against Michael Chandler on the horizon. On ESPN's First Take, Stephen A. Smith expressed that he had no issue with the McGregor versus Logan Paul fight for several reasons. He remarked that McGregor didn't appear ready to return to the UFC, suggesting that he would likely face a thorough defeat. Smith also pointed out that Michael Chandler had been persistently calling out McGregor for a significant fight, emphasizing Chandler's eagerness to face him, but noted that this matchup had not materialized yet.
Yep. These fighters are elite. They take this very seriously, and their definition of being in shape and ready to fight isn't bloating themselves up with muscles and looking good in the mirror. These brothers are ready to throw down.
Yep.
You Conor McGregor, and not only that, Michael Chandler has been calling him out forever. Desperately wants his hands on Conor McGregor because he knows that would be a big fight, obviously, and it's something that he wants, and that hasn't happened yet.
Stephen A. Smith also highlighted Conor McGregor's recent struggles in the octagon, noting that he's only secured a single win in his last 5 bouts, with that victory coming against Hall of Famer Donald Cerrone. The ESPN analyst expressed the view that McGregor's upcoming fight with Logan Paul is a smart move for the former UFC dualweight champion. Smith further noted that Conor McGregor hadn't secured many victories in recent years, highlighting that his win against Donald Cerrone was his only triumph in 7 years. He expressed appreciation for the fight against Logan Paul, emphasizing that it was purely for entertainment.
We haven't seen Conor McGregor win a fight. I mean, he beat Donald Cerrone, Cowboy Cerrone. Cerrone looked like a deer in headlights, as I pointed out that night.
Yeah.
That's the only victory he's had in 7 years. Well, here's why I don't mind it, though, Shannon. I appreciate this fight because it's pure entertainment.
Yeah.
It's an exhibition. It isn't Jake Paul training with professional boxers, essentially being a professional boxer, but getting in the ring with non-boxers or geriatric dudes.
Jake, the younger Paul brother, was alerted to Conor McGregor's declaration and asserts that the UFC star is in dire need of them in order to remain relevant. Despite being siblings, Jake Paul was unaware that his brother Logan, known as the Maverick, was planning to face Conor McGregor in the ring.
Yeah.
He's getting into the ring. He's an entertainer. He's in the world wrestling entertainment. He's very athletic. When we saw him in the ring against Floyd Money Mayweather, he didn't make an awful showing for himself, all right? And Conor McGregor is not a boxer. He's a striker and a UFC MMA fighter. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, something like this is reasonable from an entertainment perspective. If Conor got in the ring with a boxer or a UFC fight, I would say I don't like it at all because he's going to get his ass kicked. Get ready.
However, Jake did reveal that McGregor's team reached out to his promotion with an offer for a fight, but El Gallo would only agree if Dana White gave his star the go-ahead. Jake, who has openly labeled McGregor as washed up, argues that the only way for the Irish fighter to stay relevant is by taking on his older brother. At the same time, Logan Paul weighed in on Conor McGregor's announcement, lending credibility to his statements. However, he has remained silent on the matter for now, leaving fans eager to see how the former UFC champion fares in this upcoming boxing showdown. Conor McGregor's recent social media update has ignited rumors about a possible boxing exhibition against Logan Paul in India. McGregor revealed that he is in early discussions with the Ambani family to arrange the event, while also brushing off speculation regarding a UFC matchup with featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. McGregor is contracted for 2 additional UFC bouts, with the possibility of a showdown against Paul coming before his MMA return. The Irishman's lone boxing match, a 2017 bout against Floyd Mayweather, still holds the record for the highest-selling pay-per-view event ever, setting the stage for a potentially profitable clash with Paul.
But getting in the ring with an entertainer like Logan Paul makes total sense because Logan Paul is neither, but he's athletic and he's boxed before.
But can this fight actually take place, given that both fighters are signed with different promotions? According to a combat sports analyst, it's entirely feasible. The entire combat sports community was left reeling from the shocking turn of events surrounding the clash. Once more, the lingering question remains, is it possible for these two fighters to meet in the ring, given one is bound by a UFC contract and the other by WWE? Famous journalist Ariel Helwani pointed out that Dana White's job would be significantly simpler if Conor McGregor faced off against Jake Paul. The reason? The UFC and WWE are now under the same ownership, thanks to TKO.
Asking yourself, okay, how is this possible? How can Logan Paul compete against Conor McGregor in a boxing match? Logan Paul is a WWE competitor. Yes, he did do the Misfits fight.
Helwani explained the logistics behind the McGregor versus Logan Paul boxing match, addressing potential questions about how such a matchup was possible. He pointed out that while Logan Paul is a WWE competitor with experience in Misfits fights and Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter, the connection lies in their shared parent company, TKO. This, he noted, placed both under the same organizational umbrella, making the arrangement straightforward to finalize. Helwani elaborated that the McGregor versus Logan Paul fight would likely face fewer obstacles compared to the Mayweather-McGregor bout. He explained that the latter had involved significant challenges, primarily stemming from the collaboration between the UFC and Showtime, which took a considerable amount of time to finalize. In contrast, he suggested that such hurdles would not exist in this case, given the unified structure under TKO. None of the key figures involved in the upcoming fight, including the Ambani family or Logan Paul, have yet commented on the event. However, Jake Paul has stepped forward to disclose a significant development that could provide further insight into the highly anticipated clash, which, according to McGregor's post on X, is set to take place in India.
Conor McGregor is a UFC fighter. Well, then you quickly come to the realization that the parent company of WWE and UFC is TKO. So they're all under the same umbrella. Very easy to get done. That's a thing that I don't think would be a hurdle. It's not like trying to do Mayweather-McGregor. There were a ton of hurdles in trying to make that happen. Mayweather-McGregor was a thing that ended up happening, but it took a hell of a long time to get there, and the main stumbling block, if you will, was UFC and Showtime coming together. There isn't really any of that here. They're literally the same company for all intents and purposes. On Saturday, at the post-fight press conference in Tampa, Dana White alluded to the fact that he had something in the works, something big up his sleeve for 2025. In case you missed it, here's what Dana White said.
I anticipate a lot of big fights. I got something in the works right now. I'll drive you fuckers crazy. All you guys will be running around. I got something in the works that you will never fucking see coming for 2025. That literally started to come together last night, and yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up.
Was Dana White alluding to that fight? No idea. I have not talked to Dana, believe it or not, as of this morning. Maybe we'll talk later today, but I do not know. This would certainly qualify as something kind of out of left field that people would get worked up over. And so that's where things stand. Oh, by the way, Logan Paul reacting on social media with this. some eyes on his Instagram.
Conor McGregor had previously challenged both Paul brothers to a showdown, and now it seems one of them may need to start preparing for a bout, as Notorious is on the verge of facing Logan Paul in India next year. As this fight news stirs the MMA world, Jake Paul has stepped forward with a surprising revelation about McGregor's readiness to step into the ring. On his X account, the Problem Child revealed that McGregor's team is insistent on striking a deal with MVP.
McGregor is in agreement to box Logan Paul. McGregor stated in a social media post, "I am in preliminary agreements to fight Logan Paul in a boxing match in India, where headgear and weight of gloves is to be determined. The Notorious One has made more news out of the octagon since his last 2021 bout, and his relationship with Dana White is muddy. But if this boxing match happens, the odds have Logan Paul as a betting favorite. The social media star has been in the WWE for a few years now, so for him to beat a real MMA champion would be insanity. This would be the most watched boxing event in history, even bigger than Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. And if you're McGregor, why wouldn't you try and knock out Logan Paul for millions of dollars? Do you think people want to see McGregor win or get knocked out by a Paul brother?"
Conor McGregor's most recent bout took place in 2021 against Dustin Poirier, and since then, he has not stepped into the octagon or participated in any other competition. However, this upcoming showdown may mark his return to the sport after the public fallout from his defeat in the Dublin civil trial. As you can see, there's growing intrigue within the MMA world regarding the possible link between Conor McGregor's announcement of a boxing bout with Logan Paul and Dana White's recent comments about a major 2025 fight. Some believe the connection might be plausible, citing the UFC's partnership with Paul's Prime Hydration brand, while others have expressed their skepticism. The MMA world is buzzing with anticipation over McGregor's return, with multiple reports suggesting he'll make his comeback to the ring in the coming year. This possibility gained traction after the Irish fighter shared on X that he is set to face Paul in a boxing match in India, following a preliminary agreement with the Ambani family. At the UFC Tampa post-fight press conference, White teased a major surprise coming in 2025 that would catch everyone off guard. Happy Punch, a combat sports news outlet, took to X to speculate whether the UFC CEO was alluding to the potential McGregor versus Paul showdown. Soon after, fans flocked to the comments area to express their thoughts, with one fan voicing his skepticism. "No way. How does that benefit UFC? Unless that's the only way they think they can make money with Conor." One more asserted that White was not referring to McGregor, writing, "But Dana has nothing to do with Conor's fight in India, so he might be talking about something else." Other fans wrote, "Could see this. UFC partnered with Logan Paul's Prime, Logan with the WWE, and same company owns both WWE and UFC." One fan added, "Possibly, but I'd be shocked if Dana would call Logan Paul versus McGregor big. From a PPV standpoint, it is, but Dana's never been a fan of celebrity boxing and letting his guys fight and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but I have to imagine he was referring to something UFC-wise." Another said, "Conor shouldn't come back to the octagon. He's been done for years. He couldn't even beat up a casual martial arts practitioner anymore." And this fan expressed, "Who wants to see him against the brother that can't boxes if he lost to Logan? No one wants this, and he won't fight Jake because Jake would probably kill Conor in a boxing match right now." Meanwhile, according to a UFC insider, Dana White's major plan for 2025 could involve a cage rematch between Jake Paul and Nate Diaz, moving the bout out of the boxing ring. In August 2023, the clash between Paul, the YouTube star turned boxer, and Diaz, a former UFC lightweight title contender, captured significant attention. The highly anticipated showdown ended with Paul securing a unanimous decision win over his fellow American, who was stepping into the boxing ring for the first time. If former UFC heavyweight knockout artist Brendan Schaub's words hold weight, UFC President Dana White could be eyeing a rematch on Diaz's home turf for next year. These words by Schaub, from his latest podcast episode covering the recent UFC Tampa card, are in relation to White's teasing comments that he has something in the works that you will never see coming for 2025. Although White has remained silent about his plans, Schaub speculates that a key event for the 2025 International Fight Week could be an MMA rematch between Paul and Diaz. He said, "That's what it is, because Jake can do it. Nate's not going to fight the PFL. I'm with Nate on this. Nate is a UFC guy. He's still in cahoots with the UFC. He was backstage throwing water bottles. Nate isn't going to diminish his product and fight in the PFL. That's just a sign that it's over. If you go to the PFL from the UFC, your career is over, even if you're fighting Jake Paul." The idea of this second fight is not new. Only a week ago, Diaz and Paul were once more trading comments. In response to Paul saying that Diaz was scared of fighting him in MMA during an interview, Diaz shared the clip on his X and added the caption, "Sign the contract scary, and not in 12 months from now and in an organization." Diaz's reluctance to compete in the professional fighting league seemed like the primary barrier to the rematch. But if Schaub's theory holds, suggesting White is orchestrating the bout under UFC's umbrella, the road ahead appears smoother. Although Diaz is currently a free agent after leaving the UFC in late 2022, his connection to the promotion remains strong, making it a more natural fit. This setup would also flip the dynamic from their first encounter, where Paul held the upper hand as the more seasoned boxer.
On his Instagram, his story. By the way, he did that. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Nice little background. I guess he has a good team behind it. But there you go. He's reacting to it as well. Reached out to some more parties, and as of now, everyone is quite tight-lipped. But I can tell you that there is validity here. Does it end up happening? Does it come to fruition? This isn't just a thing that is pulled out of nowhere on a Tuesday morning. And the Jake stuff is interesting as well. Could that happen with his deal with PFL? You know, they're both under the ESPN umbrella, if you will, different than the TKO umbrella, but they have the same broadcast partners. Certainly that doesn't mean that the fight is like a fait accompli. Look at Francis and John, but that's an interesting one. And also, like, the world where both guys, this happened with the Nate Diaz fight, are kind of, I don't want to say in the sweepstakes for the same guy.
Naturally, there's no confirmation that this concept will come to fruition, as it remains purely a theory put forth by Schaub. As for the public's interest in a potential rematch between the two Americans, it's difficult to assess, especially given Paul's divisive reputation and the mixed reactions following his recent fight with the much older and retired boxing icon Mike Tyson. It would undoubtedly turn heads, but doubts linger over its feasibility. White and Paul's history hasn't been the smoothest, though nothing can be dismissed until we see what the UFC's CEO has planned.
Only leads me to think that one day they're going to fight, the brothers. I mean, if I'm Jacob, say like, oh, wait a second, y'all reached out about this, and now you're going in that direction. Who knows? And then his tweet, you know, who knows how Logan feels about it. There's so much there, but ultimately, as we sit here on this Tuesday, December 17th, there is something to this.
So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos.